If your goalies play like that, you will win 0 games. If your defense plays like that, you will win 0 games. If your offense plays like it did in the second and third period, you will win 0 games. Avs lose to the Pittsburgh Penguins 7-2. Just about the only redeeming factor about this game for the Avalanche was the way their offense played in the first period. That was actually pretty good. They put up 17 shots on goal, peppered Pittsburgh, and scored twice. You would feel pretty good about that in a normal game. They even dominated the possession metrics, outshooting Pittsburgh 17-7. But obviously, you've seen the final score. You know those metrics are a little bit deceiving. Fact is, the Avs defense and goaltending just decided not to show up for this game. And by the midway point of the game, the Avs offense quit too. This is probably the worst game of the season for the Avs, which in my mind, obviously in the moment, this game was awful, but I also understand that this is as bad as it's going to get for this team. They're not going to play like this very often, if ever again this season, hopefully. Doesn't change the fact that this was a missed opportunity and you cannot be happy with the performance, but I do find a little bit of solace in knowing that it's not going to look like this again. It starts with Scott Wedgwood giving up 3 goals on 5 shots, and the Avs also score 1 in there, so let's rapid fire the first 4 goals. Routine breakout situation. Avs forwards may be a little deep on the forecheck here, but Pittsburgh even going for a change on the backside of this. This should not really be all that dangerous of a play. It's a flip in. You have Taves defending initially. This puck is going to come to the middle to Malkin, and Burns is in a fine position. In a perfect world, he gets his stick in, and this shot doesn't even go on net, but this is not an unusual play, nor particularly dangerous one. Malkin's going to try a crazy spinning backhand. Scott Wedgwood's just going to cheat. That's all there is to it, and he gets beat because of it. A D-zone face-off win gives the Avs possession. Marty Necas goes zoom in the neutral zone, but just keep in mind, Nathan MacKinnon is flat-footed behind his own face-off dot here. He turns on the Jets to get up and in this play. As the initial pull-up from Necas comes, MacKinnon eventually flies into the middle as Pittsburgh has maybe oversank into their own zone. That puck trickles through, and MacKinnon just shoots it and scores. Makar is going to shoot this puck in deep and just kind of throw it in there, and Anthony Mantha is going to cherry pick a little bit. The problem is, when Makar shoots it in, there's no guarantee the Avs are going to get possession here, and neither Taves nor Makar recognize Mantha is just full sending. So when Pittsburgh gets possession cleanly of this puck, they just send it up ice, and it's a clean breakaway because they just weren't ready for it. Mantha walks in, and Wedgwood kind of gets deked out of his shorts here as that one goes 5-hole. Pittsburgh is going to have a sloppy breakout up the ice, off the wall here, not really connected. It bounces over Manson's stick, but this is fine. All Manson has to do is win the race or take the body position, and you're just fine here. The problem is Manson does neither. He loses the race and then recognizes he's losing it too late, tries to take body position, but he's already getting beat. And then you have Nick Blankenberg, who probably is not comfortable in the Avs systems yet, kind of just gets stuck in the middle. He tries half-heartedly to play the puck carrier, meaning he abandoned the backside of the ice, which, to be fair, Bardakov, buddy, use your feet. You got to actually skate. Maybe you get back in and break up this play. All of that leads to Evgeny Malkin all alone in the hashes. Oh no, that's another goal. A D-zone puck battle that the Avs actually win, but then immediately give it back away, allows Pittsburgh to get a shot on net. This is not particularly special. I know it gets tipped on the way in, but you would still like a little bit better rebound control from Blackwood. With that being said, I think this is more the fault of the Avs defense failing to get effective positions and being ready for the rebound. When they get beat to the puck, it's in the back of their net. Look, the heavy skating, shooting version of Nathan MacKinnon the Avs got in this game while it was still competitive, good thing. Good it's still in there. You want to see a lot more of that. Everything else, I never want to see again. First one's just a brutal goal to give up by NHL standards. And while the other two are breakaways and a tough ask for a goalie, eventually you need a save. With that being said, your defense did nothing. Genuinely nothing to help. The second and third goals wouldn't have been any different if the Avs were just playing with one less defender. That's how ineffective they were. The breakdowns are so basic that there's not even really a ton to talk about on them. And frankly, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this game, so let's move on. The Avs do give you a glimmer of hope that this game could still be competitive by making it a 2-goal lead later in the first. Guys like Kadri adding the physicality for the Avalanche that you expected, creates a turnover and gets the Avs going the right direction. Brindley's able to get the zone cleanly. This isn't a particularly special play, but he uses the space he has and then finds the right play to get it back to the point to Burns. Burns just going to throw this one on net, and he has a knack for this year. It goes off of a defender and in. Most of Brent Burns' goals this season seem to be coming from a place of it's better to be lucky than good, but you take them. And after a long stretch of tough games for Burns, I actually thought he was a good bit better today. I don't know if that's a product of all of the other Avs defenders were just horrible or he was actually good, but hey, a guy trending in the right direction. I'm trying to find some silver linings here. And frankly, that was the end of the game. After registering 17 shots in the first period, the Avs would only register 10 shots on goal for the rest of the game. This is in part because Pittsburgh tried to play a 4-2 game for the rest of it. They just shut things down and tried to seal things up. But it's also because the Avs kind of just quit. The offensive effort just didn't exist there. And you can blame chemistry and the injuries, and I think those are valid points, running 11-7. All of those are valid reasons as to why it happened, but also just there was an effort problem. And I get it. Your goaltenders have completely destroyed this game, and some defensive miscues have left you in a very tough spot. But we just haven't seen the Avs quit like that very much this year. This is only maybe the second or third time this season I've really seen them give up on a game. And any hope left halfway through the game gets buried by a tough bounce. Our dump in from Pittsburgh that the Avs awkwardly just decide not to play along the half wall and let it go through, which means Pittsburgh gets to keep it in. Then a shot's going to come from out high, and I'm just not sure what Malinsky's doing here. He decides to go stand right in front of his own goalie and try and block the shot, and he blocks it directly into his own net. I will say, I know you can't trust your goalies in this game. I know it hasn't gone well, but you cannot have your defenseman trying to play goalie. You need to let your goalie make the saves they're supposed to make. If they don't, you're going to lose, which is part of how this game ended up. But maybe if you're less concerned about trying to play goaltender and actually playing defense, the Avs defense wouldn't have looked as horrible in this game. You knew the game was pretty much done and dusted at that point, but things would only get worse for the Avalanche. They end up going 0 for 5 on their power play. Some of those power plays even looked decent, but in a game where you were getting nothing from your defense and your goalie, you needed special teams to carry you a little bit to be even competitive in this game, and the power play was not able to convert. And then your penalty kill also fails you. A shorthanded 3-on-2 where the Avs failed to even get a shot attempt off turns the other way immediately, and somehow the Avs are completely caught off guard and give up a breakaway on the power play, and that one is also in the back of your net off of bad goaltending. Yeah, I mean, that one just needs to be a save for Blackwood, like the first one needed to be a save for Wedgwood. None to talk about there. We move on. The goalies were bad. The third period was two teams just waiting for the final buzzer to end. Pittsburgh does add one more goal that you're seeing here, but there's really nothing to note. Just an absolutely brutal game from the Avalanche. Yeah, there's just not much to say about that other than horrible. Don't happen again. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I am Rudo, and those games are not fun.